In today's show, it's time to look back at the best players in fantasy basketball. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_Beeble and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode of Locked On Fantasy Basketball is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where friends and family from the community can come together. A big thank you to McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, and make sure you are checking out the other shows right across our network for your favorite team. All right, it's that time now. We're a week and a bit into the season, almost 2 weeks of the fantasy year done. Let's look at who the best players are. We'll do category leagues, Yahoo points leagues, and ESPN points leagues. Let's start with category leagues. The number one player at this point in the season on a per-game basis is Karl-Anthony Towns. We talked at the start of the year there were a number of players who could end up as the number one guy. He was in a handful of about 6 players, and he's there at the moment. He's there, and it's not particularly close at the moment, averaging 28 and 8 with 4 assists. The standout number there that's probably going to come down is 2.5 blocks. Shooting 56 and 95 from the field and the line. So some really big numbers. You look at it and you go, that's all well and good. The blocks I think will come down, but not much else there stands out to me as being outrageous. 95% from the line, yes. But otherwise, no reason he can't be a top... Look, he was my number 5 guy heading into the season. No reason he can't be a top 3 player or even the number 1 guy, as I said numerous times at the start of the year. Number 2 is Steph. He's averaging 30 points with 5 threes, 6.5 assists, 1.6 steals. That's all expected from him, 97% from the line. What you don't expect to get out of Steph Curry, and that's what I'm highlighting for these category league guys initially, it's just some stats that look weird and some stats that probably don't stick. And he's averaging 8 rebounds per game. I wouldn't imagine that Steph Curry is going to average 8 rebounds per game over the course of the season. That's just me. I just don't think he's going to do that. He's going to be great, of course, and he's probably going to be a top 5 player. Nothing to me suggests that he's dropping off. But those rebounds might fall off. So really big start to the year from Steph. There at number 2. At number 3, he's injured at the moment, but... hopefully he's not out too long, and by the time I'm recording this, he might have actually played on Friday. Nikola Jokić is at number 3 there. The consensus number 1 pick, we talked again extensively in the preseason that you take him at number 1, but there is literally not even close to a guarantee that he finishes as number 1, but it doesn't matter. If he doesn't finish 1, if he goes to 3 or 4, it doesn't actually matter. He's averaging 27 and 14 with 4.5 assists. It's those assist numbers which are keeping him from being number 1. They're way down at the moment. He's shooting 68 from the field, which is amazing. He's also averaging 2 steals. I don't expect 2 steals to continue from Jokić, but I would expect his assist numbers to come up somewhat. Then at number 4, the biggest surprise is Morant. He's been unbelievable. Morant is averaging 30 points per game with 2.6 threes, 5.4 rebounds, 7.8 assists, 1.8 steals, shooting 54 and 84%. Now, there are plenty of people who will get on this video and tweet at me, Josh, you're so wrong about Ja. When are you going to apologize to him? He's making you eat your words, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's going to happen, right? People are going to say that because I said, look, I think it's ridiculous taking him at number 40. I said that I think he's going to take gigantic steps forward and probably rank 40 spots higher than where he was last year, which was 112th. So far, he's taken 108 spots forward, up to number 4. But it would have been completely irresponsible of me to suggest the following things, which is what's happened for Ja so far this season. He is shooting 10 percentage points better from 3. He's doing that while almost doubling his attempts. If I came in and said, well, I think this is going to happen, and you say, why? And I go, I don't know, just because. You can't project that. He's shooting 10.5% better from 2-point range. And again, if I came in and said he's going to go from being a 50% 2-point guy up to 61%, it's just irresponsible to project that. His free throws have gone from 73 to 84. So 11 percentage points. So each one of his three shooting percentages have jumped by a minimum of 10 percentage points. You can project 3, 4, 5% increases, 4% decreases. You can't do 10s across the board. I sound like I'm on drag race here. But that's not all. Ja has also doubled his 3-point output. He has also doubled his steal rate. He has also doubled his block rate. So while he has been unbelievably awesome, he is super fun to watch. He is one of the best players in the NBA this season so far. Yeah, he is a legitimate All-NBA candidate 4 games in. If you're picking All-NBA games now, 5 games in, he's in, right? That's fine. But there are so many things that are literally impossible to have projected and with gigantic downside from here. I do not think that Ja will continue to double his threes, double his steals, double his blocks, while shoot 10 percentage points better across all 3 percentages. That seems completely unrealistic to expect that. Do I think that he'll improve in his threes, his steals, his blocks, his field goals, his free throws, his 2-pointers, his 3-pointers? Yes, I do think they'll all improve, but not by this much. So while he's been great, I think there is a little bit of a sell high happening here. Those improvements are astonishing, but it is a 5-game sample size. Just remember that part of it. Let's look at the next bunch. At number 5 is Christian James McCollum. He's been awesome as well. He's been carrying this Blazers team. He's averaging 27 points with 5 rebounds, 2 steals and 1.5 blocks, so there's already an area where that can come down. He's also hitting 5 threes per game. Now, the 5 threes, maybe that's high. Well, not maybe, it is high. He's doing that at 48%, so it's not coming at like 55% or something like that. That probably will come down somewhat, but those defensive stats along with those threes are room for him to drop off. I think CJ will probably fall back from being this guy to being a guy around the 30 to 50 mark would be my guess. Number 6 is Paulie George. Yeah, he was a great pick around that 10 to 14 range. He's exceeded that. How? By averaging 3.8 steals per game. Obviously inflated by that one game where he had 8 steals. He's averaging 24, 8, and 4 with 3 threes. So not bad. Hasn't missed a free throw, which is good. That's those steals which have bumped him up that high. 7 is Kevin Durant. And I look at Durant's numbers, and honestly, out of everyone else here, what he's doing is just entirely sustainable. 30 points, 10 boards, 2 threes, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 assist, 55 and 79. In fact, he can shoot better from the line. Like I've highlighted there he's averaging 30 points per game. He can do that easily. All right, so everything Durant is doing is absolutely sustainable. And the free throws probably can increase to push him higher. And then at number 8.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis is at number 8. He was a top 5 pick to me, top 4 pick I would have picked him in the top 4, no problem. With a punt free throw mindset. He's averaging 27, 12, and 6.5, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 1.2 triples, 52% from the field. Everything about that is completely sustainable. What he is doing that's surprising, which has bumped him up the overall rankings, is his free throws at 74%. I did a Wattfo on that yesterday that he stays over 70. I believe he will. I had 75% certainty on that. But that's what's pushed him up to number 8. You know, that's still a negative, and you punt that and he's in the top 3, top 2 pretty comfortably. So Giannis sits there at number 8 on the rankings so far this season. Thank you to McDonald's for sponsoring this podcast. As I said, McDonald's has always been a place, well, more than just a place to get tasty and affordable food. It's been a part of our community, part of our lives. We all have memories, whether that's on that long-ass road trip where you're driving out and you go past a Macca's and you go, geez, wouldn't mind smashing a 6-pack of nuggies right now. Get that sweet and sour sauce in me. What's your favorite sauce on McDonald's nuggets? Sweet and sour for me every time. Has to be sweet and sour. I'm sure you guys, do you even have sweet and sour sauce in America on your nuggets? I don't know. Anyway, you always have those memories, children's birthday parties, coming back from sporting events and celebrating your accomplishments with your teammates. McDonald's has always been there. So head to your local McDonald's to refuel and reconnect. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Wouldn't mind smashing some nuggies right now, to be honest. All right, let's go on to the next group that we're up to here. I should have even had my face on that, but I forgot to transition on the video. Apologies. The next bunch of guys in category leagues, we've got Miles Bridges at number 9. He's averaging 26 points per game. 8 boards, 2 assists, 1.8 steals, 0.6 blocks, 53 and 91. I think the usage is going to come down a little bit when Rozier returns, so that 26 points probably goes 23, 24. I think he can remain a top 50 player. I think he can remain a top 40 player. I think there's a decent chance he can remain a top 30 player. Top 10? Probably not. He had this efficiency all last season. Everything about what he's doing is very similar to last season. He's just playing 6 more minutes, and he's getting a little bit more usage. The minutes will stick, I believe. I'm not sure the usage will. Number 10 is the double royal, Julius Randle. I was a bit worried how things would go for Randle this year. I was a little bit hesitant. Would he lose some usage with Kemba and Fournier there? His usage is at 30%, so it's the same. Would his assists come down? Well, they're still at 7. He's averaging 23, 12, and 7. I thought his efficiency would improve. Well, that hasn't. He's at 41% from the field and 82% from the line, which is obviously good, and hitting 29% from 3. And we had that concern. We said he jumped like 13 percentage points in his 3-point shooting last year. Was that a fluke, or will he go back to being shit? Well, so far, he's gone back to being shit. Let's see where that sticks. But the other thing that's really keeping him up this high, 1.4 blocks. That is never going to stick. He's at 1 steal a game as well. I think he's going to be a top 30 guy, probably a top 20 guy, but I'm not, we've seen the last 2 games him start. He was like top, I think he was the first ranked player for one stage. He's starting to come down a little bit now. Number 11.
Fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
LeBron James is here. He's played 38 minutes a night. That's probably why. 26, 6, and 5. Hitting almost 5 threes per game, LeBron is. Do you think he's going to continue to do that at 48%? Absolutely not. He will not remain this high. Don't have any worries about that. He's shooting poor percentages overall, 47 from the field and 67 from the line, with 1.7 steals and 1 block. This is not one I think that's going to maintain. Well, at number 12, it is Domantas Sabonis. The last couple of games from him have been pretty rough. He's averaging 21, 11, and 4. 1.4 steals, which is high. It's the 70% from the field, which is from 2-point range, which is amazing. 71 from 2. That's going to come down. The 39 minutes a game is also going to come down. Do not expect Domantas Sabonis to remain in this area. Minutes are going to come down. Field goal percentage is going to come down. Steals are probably going to come down. And we saw a pretty rough performance from him last game. So let's move on to the rest of the top 20. At 13, it's Jimmy Butler. 14, it's Zach LaVine. 15, it is Trae Young. 16, it is Malcolm Brogdon. 17 is Tony Davis. Number 18 is the pencil Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. 19 is Joel Embiid. And number 20, you could have knocked me over with a feather when I saw this. Al Horford is at number 20. It's not going to stick. Now, I haven't gone into in-depth stats with these guys, but at number 20, Horford is there because he's averaging 2.7 blocks and 11 rebounds per game and shooting 90 from the line. That is going to come down, I 100% guarantee you. Let's move on and look at Yahoo points leagues now. Number 1 is the big fella Giannis Antetokounmpo, averaging 57 fantasy points. And number 2 is Anthony Davis. Interesting. 53 fantasy points for Tone. Number 3 is Durant at 52.9. Number 4 is Big Chungus Nikola Jokić, averaging 52.45. Surprised to see Davis up that high. Giannis running away with things at the top of the Yahoo points list. Number 5 is Julius Randle at 51.74. 6 is Curry at 51.5. 7 is Towns at 50.05. And then Ja Morant comes in at 49.78 to round out your top 8 on Yahoo points leagues. Number 9, Paulie George has 48.45. Jimmy Butler at 47.48. His steal numbers are through the roof, and that's really helping his numbers. And then number 11, DeJounte Murray, 46.04. He has been great. He's 30th in category leagues, for those wondering, because his percentages are atrocious, 41 and 57 from the field and from the line. But he's averaging a ton of rebounds, a ton of steals, and a ton of assists. And his usage has been high. And if those numbers come up, those efficiency numbers, he could average 20 points per game. He's been great. And then number 12, first time we mentioned Luka Doncic. Well, here he is, number 12, 45.98. Shout out to Jason Kidd. Then to finish off the top 20 in Yahoo points leagues, we've got LeBron, Embiid at 14. 15 is Trae Young. 16 is CJ McCollum. 17 is Jonas Valanciunas.
Jonas Valanciunas.
18 is Miles Bridges. 19 is Russell Westbrook. And number 20 is Jason Tatum. Guys, football and basketball, they are back. And the best place for you to place your bets is the new revamped mobile and desktop website of betonline.ag. Head to that new updated desktop and sign up using our promo code LOCKEDON, and you receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. From basketball, football, the World Series, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline has all of these amazing offers that you should not wait to take advantage of. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline is where the game starts. Can you guess what the best tasting protein bar is? It is Built Bar. Built Bar comes in amazing flavors: raspberry, strawberry, orange, caramel, salted caramel, in fact, cookies and cream, coconut. And they taste just like candy bars, but they're not just delicious. They are delicious, but they're not just delicious. They're also good for you. 17 to 18 grams of protein, 130 to 180 calories, 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar that's also healthy, and it's also cheaper. Locked15 is your promo code to go to built.com. Use that code locked15 and you save 15% off your order your order of Built Bars. I'm just gagging because I'm craving them so much. Built.com, promo code is locked15 for 15% off. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. Let's go now finally to ESPN points leagues and the top bunch there. Number 1 is Yanni, averaging 57.8 fantasy points. Number 2, Richie Beno, sorry. Number 2 is Nikola Jokić, averaging 56.75. Number 3 is Kevin Durant at 55. And number 4 is Towns, averaging a bit under 55 as well. Number 5 is Ja Morant at 53, Davis at 52, Curry at 52, and Paul George at 51. That rounds out your top 8. Number 9, we've got CJ McCollum, who's just a smidge under 50. Julius Randle's at 49. Jimmy Butler's at 48.5. And then LeBron is at 48. And to finish off your top 20 on ESPN points leagues, Miles Bridges, Trae Young at 14. DeJounte Murray, 15. Domantas Sabonis at 16. Harrison Barnes, 17. Joel Embiid, 18. 19 is Al Horford. And at number 20 is Luka Doncic. That'll do it for today's show. I will be back later on with a what to watch for Saturday's games. Good luck with everything going on in your life and your matchups and your DFS and whatever you're doing today. Good luck. Follow this podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app and on YouTube. Thumb it up, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.